Shalom. This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. I want to start off by saying thank you to all of our Booster Club members for your many donations and much more, your prayers. We visited faraway countries and strange lands. We've even spoken to dignitaries and were detained for spreading the glorious gospel in Cuba. The truth is that the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel were scattered throughout the world. Help us on our journey as we continue to raise up the nation of Israel. 12 tribes worldwide. Join or donate today. Shalom.
Hey, Shalom, Israel, Mosai, and Christ bless. I'm Captain Mattathias.
I'm Officer Losias.
All right, and today we have another 15 minutes with the captains. Today's topic is Who is Japheth, or Japheth, okay? We're going to jump right into it. Give me Genesis chapter 5, verse 32.
The book of Genesis, chapter 5 and verse 32.
Come on.
And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
He begot who?
Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Shem, Ham, and Japheth, okay? Japheth, one of the sons of Noah. Now, give me the book of First Chronicles chapter 1. I want to go into some of his lineage, okay? First Chronicles 1, and start at, I think, like 2 or 3, something like that.
The book of First Chronicles, chapter 1 and verse 4.
All right, read that.
Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Come on.
The sons of Japheth, Gomer and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Mesheth, and Tyrus. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Rephah, and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan, Elishah, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim.
Okay, so that's going into the lineage of Japheth. All right, so now we're going to go to the complete works of Flavius Josephus, all right, or the Josephus. We're going to get a little bit more insight on where the people of Japheth actually dwelt, all right? Read that.
This is the complete works of Flavius Josephus. Page 30, chapter 5. After this, they were dispersed abroad on account of their languages and went out by colonies everywhere. And each colony took possession of that land which they light upon, and unto which God led them, so that the whole continent was filled with them, both the inland and maritime countries. There were some also who passed over the sea in ships and inhabited islands. And some of those nations do still retain their denominations, which were given them by their first founders.
Right. So all that's saying is, let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 8, real quick. All right. It's saying it in other words. Josephus, a lot of times, majority of the time, is referenced in the scriptures. There's some stuff you want to spit out in there, but majority of the time he's doing this. Watch this.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, in verse 8.
Come on.
When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
Right. So Israel would have somewhere to be when they were established as a nation. But this is going into the establishment of the lands that were allotted to the different nations, kindreds, and tongues on the earth. All right, so let's go back to Josephus. All right, continue to pick up where you left off.
But some have lost them also, and also some have only admitted certain changes in them.
Meaning this, there's an ancient name to everything, meaning the ancient name of Egypt was Mizraim. But what happened? The Greeks under Alexander conquered Egypt, Mizraim, and then they changed the name, okay? So every landmass or country has an ancient name, okay? That's something we want to establish right then and there, okay? Read that part again.
But some have lost them also, and some have only admitted certain changes in them, that they might be the more intelligible to the inhabitants.
So it says, and some, they don't mention everything, okay? Meaning they don't want people to know who originally inhabited the land, okay? They try to only say, well, we'll go back this far, so the people who conquered it at this point, we're aware. But any history before that, no, we don't want you to know about that thing. Read on.
And they were the Greeks who became the authors of such mutations.
Who did this?
The Greeks.
The Greeks. They're the ones responsible for that, okay? They're the ones who conquered these different lands, and they wanted everybody to think that they were the ones who always inhabited that land, okay? The Greeks are the Romans. The Romans are the Americans, the Idumeans, the Edomites. They're all the same people,
Right.
okay? Read on.
For when, in after ages, they grew potent, they claimed to themselves the glory of antiquity.
So if you claiming the glory of antiquity, you're basically saying you come from yourself. You're like everybody from the start of time, okay? And that's exactly what they've done. When you see these different movies out there, they're the Egyptians, they're the Israelites, they're white people too. You feel what I'm saying? They're everybody on the earth, okay? That's what it's talking about, the glory of antiquities, all right? Read on.
Giving names to the nations that sounded well in Greek.
Right. So we gave the example of Egypt, but originally it was called Mizraim.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now we're going to read about some other lands that they did the same thing too. Read.
That they might be better understood among themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and setting agreeable forms of government over them.
Come on.
As if they were the people derived from themselves.
As if they were the people derived from themselves. Now jump to chapter 6. Watch this.
Chapter 6. Now they were the grandchildren of Noah, in honor of whom names were imposed on the nations by those that first seized upon them.
Come on.
Japheth, the son of Noah, had 7 sons. They inhabited so that, beginning at the mountains Tyrus and Amanus, they proceeded along Asia. And as
They proceeded along where?
Asia,
Along Asia. So it's telling you the reason. That Asia is not talking about the Asia you know today. That's referring to Asia Minor, okay? That's the Asia that's talking about. Read on.
as far as the river Tyanus, and along Europe to Kadesh.
Along where?
Along Europe.
Along where?
Europe.
Europe. That's showing you what? That Japheth, the sons of Japheth, they are the original inhabitants of Europe, not the white man, okay? Read on.
From Europe to Kadesh, and settling themselves on the lands which they light upon, which none had inhabited before. Which none have inhabited before.
So that was from the beginning, meaning when the Most High God, in Deuteronomy 32:8, when he had the nations get their allotment of land, they were the first inhabitants of that land. There was nobody else before the sons of Japheth, okay? Read.
They called the nations by their own names.
They called the nation. So when they got this landmass of this country, they called it by their own names. Read.
For Gomer founded those whom the Greeks now call the Galatians.
You see that? Galatia. Okay. The Greeks call it that, but it used to be called the land of Gomer. Okay. Read.
But were then called Gomerites. Magog found those that found him were named Magogites, but who are by the Greeks called Scythians.
Scythians, also in that region of Germany as well. Okay, read.
Now, as to Javan and Madai, the sons of Japheth, from Madai came to the Medians.
The Medians. The Medians or the Medes. The Medes, they are the sons of Japheth. Okay, dark-skinned people. Dark-skinned people. Read.
Who are called Medes.
Come on.
By the Greeks. But from Javan, Iona, all the Grecians are derived.
All the Grecians what?
Are derived.
So meaning what? When it came to Greece, that was called the land of Javan. That was one of Japheth's son. Javan, okay? Now, what I want you to do, I want you to go to that first article, okay? It's from Ancient History. Double check that for me. What's the name of that website?
It's www.ancienthistory.eu, Etruscan civilization.
All right, we're going to read about the what?
The Etruscan civilization.
The Etruscan civilization. All right, watch this.
The Etruscan civilization flourished in central Italy between the 8th and 3rd century BCE.
So it's telling you what time period. These people were already there before the quote-unquote Grecians that, as you know it today, came. Okay, read on.
The culture was renowned in antiquity for its rich mineral resources and as a major Mediterranean trading power.
All right, so they were already developing commerce before the Idumeans came. Read on.
Much of its culture and even history was either obliterated.
Was what?
Obliterated.
We read that in the Josephus, where they like to do what? They like to act like they are the beginning of antiquity, rather than actually give credit to those who were there before them. Read that part again.
Much of its culture and even history was either obliterated or assimilated into that of its conqueror.
Of its conqueror, which who were the Grecians. Read.
Rome.
Rome. Read on.
Nevertheless, surviving Etruscan tombs and their contents and their wall painting, as well as the Roman adoption of certain Etruscan clothing, religious practice, and architecture, are convincing testament to the great prosperity and significant contribution to the Mediterranean culture achieved by Italy's first great civilization.
First great civilization, meaning what? They were a well-established, a wealthy culture. Japheth, the sons of Japheth, that's them under a different name, the Etruscan civilization, okay? I want you to go to the next article in the wiki about the Etruscans. I want to touch that as well. We're just touching on this one in particular, all right, for the sake of time. All right, watch this.
This is Wikipedia.com. The Etruscan civilization. The Etruscan civilization was a civilization of ancient Italy in an area corresponding roughly to Tuscany.
You know what? Jump down to the second paragraph.
A culture that is identifiably Etruscan developed in Italy about 900 BC.
Read.
Approximately with the Iron Age Villanovan culture, regarded as the oldest phase of Etruscan civilization.
The oldest, as we read, is the first. Read.
And derived from the previous late Bronze Age Porto-Villanovan culture.
Now here's the point.
Etruscan civilization endured until its assimilation.
It's what?
Assimilation.
Assimilation. Think about what happened to us here in America. The same thing happened to the sons of Japheth. They had to get down with those who conquered them, meaning they had to throw away their culture and their heritage and now assimilate to the Idumean way of life after they were conquered, okay? Read on.
Until its assimilation into Roman society, beginning in the late 4th century BC with the Roman Etruscan Wars.
With the Roman Etruscan Wars. So now we're going to touch on that. Go to the next article about the Roman Etruscan Wars.
The Roman Etruscan Wars
Come on.
were a series of wars fought between ancient Rome in both the regal and the republican periods and the Etruscans.
Read.
Information about many of the wars is limited, particularly those in the early parts of Rome's history, and in large part is known from the ancient texts alone.
Why would that history be limited? Because they wanted to wipe that out. They wanted to eliminate that so people wouldn't know who the original inhabitants of that land was. It was dark-skinned people. They weren't Israelites, but everybody on the earth at that time, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, were all dark-skinned people. They wanted to wipe that out of the land, okay? Do me a favor. Give me the book of Judith real quick. Give me the book of Judith. I'm going to show you, we're going to show you in the scriptures that we're going to show you the region. It supports the historical articles and books out of the book of Judith, the 2nd chapter. Read that.
The book of Judith, chapter 2 and verse 25.
Come on.
And he took the borders of Cilicia.
He took the borders of Cilicia. Okay, that's in the same region as Europe. Okay, read.
And killed all that resisted him. And came to the borders of Japheth.
The borders of what?
Japheth. Which were toward the south.
Which were toward the south. Read.
Over against Arabia.
So it says over against Arabia. It was above Arabia and it was near the coast of Sicilia. It's showing that same region of Europe and Asia Minor. All right, so the scripture shows you the original habitation of the sons of Japheth, which was Europe. But now they're identified as Samoans. You got Tahitians, people of Tahiti. People of the Philippines.
Chamorro, Guam.
Guam, okay, all praises. Guam as well, you're correct. And you have Austronesians, okay, and you also have Javanites, hence Javan, the keyword Javan. Also have Javanites. So we're able to show you in the scriptures where they originally inhabited, and this is how they are identified today. That's who Japheth is today on the earth, all right? All right, family, and with that, this has been another 15 minutes with the captains, and we say shalom.
Shalom.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC, has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.